Before I discuss Kamala Harris, I want to remind you all that when I said let's boycott the entire system, you all told me no. And then when I said let's financially boycott these corporations, you all told me no. And then when I said let's withhold the vote, you all told me no. And then when I said, well, let's demand something for our vote, you all still told me no. So after all of those no's, we are here today. I believe one of the greatest misconceptions out there is that someone not being Trump means they will be better for the country. And to me, that's a very detrimental assumption, because it assumes that anyone that's not Trump is going to be good, as if Trump is the only bad person in politics. Not being Trump doesn't mean anything but simply not being Trump. I read Joe Biden's plan, Lift Every Voice and Sing, or Two Piece and a Biscuit, and his plan is not going to benefit African Americans or black people. He does not have a black agenda. And Joe Biden recently got Kamala Harris as his vice president because he assumes that everyone is going to vote for him because he has a woman and because he has a woman of color. And Kamala Harris doesn't have a black agenda either.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
Now, many of you will say that Trump doesn't have a black agenda either. And I counter that with Joe Biden says that he does have a black agenda, but he really doesn't. So Joe Biden is lying and Trump is not lying about having a black agenda.
With the inner cities, I say to the African American people that have to suffer in these inner cities, what do you have to lose? I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it.
President, we would like to thank you for everything that you've done for the African American community so far. We thank you for criminal justice reform. We thank you for the lowest black unemployment rate in this country, sir. And finally, most importantly, sir, thank you for saving America, and thank you. Thank you. Finally, sir, thank you for taking on the fake news media, sir.
I would invite any of you all to just compare their track record. Trump's been in politics for 4 years and Joe Biden's been in politics 53 years. So it should be easy for you all to distinguish who has a better track record when it comes to politics. Joe Biden telling the country that we got to get Trump out of office is not really a good sales pitch for me, because I don't operate under the assumption that Trump is the only bad guy in politics. Because everything starts with economics, then it goes to politics, and then it goes to society.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I extended the voting rights 25 years. I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP has endorsed me every time I've run. I mean, come on. Take a look at the record.
But we will give Joe Biden a pass because Joe Biden is not Trump. But I keep telling you all that just because someone is not Trump, that doesn't automatically make them better. Remember that black people are the ones that say we're going to pick the lesser of two evils, as if there are varying degrees of evil. Evil is evil. So if you pick the lesser of two evils, all you did was pick evil, which makes you evil.
What you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
The president pounced.
Joe Biden this morning totally disparaged and insulted the black community. What he said is incredible, and I don't know what's going on with him.
Biden's campaign insists he was not suggesting the black community is a monolith, but rather was referring to diversity of attitudes among Latinos when it comes to immigration. Late today, Biden tried to clarify.
We can build a new administration that reflects the full diversity of our nation and the full diversity of Latino communities. Now, when I mean full diversity, unlike the African American community and many other communities, you're from everywhere, from Europe, from the tip of South America, all the way to our border in Mexico and in the Caribbean.
Now, I want you all to keep in mind when they talk about immigration, they're talking about illegal immigration. So what the Democrats want you to do is support illegal immigration so that the illegal immigrants can take your jobs away. This is what the Democrats want, because the Democrats don't actually want black people empowered. The Democrats want black people dependent upon the system. So the Democrats want you to support people coming to a country illegally and taking your jobs. Now, what you all don't understand is that if you tried to go to another country illegally and tried to work, they wouldn't let you. If you, black people, tried to go to another country illegally and work, they would not let you, nor would there be a group of people there advocating for you to do so. Now, under the Obama administration, we had the highest unemployment. Yes, under the Obama administration, we had a quote-unquote black president, we had the highest unemployment. I told you all before that if a black president could not help black people, it was a wrap when it came to politics. But I guess my whole point is, not being Trump doesn't automatically mean better. Not getting bitten by a snake and getting bitten by a spider doesn't mean you got the better end of the deal. There are poisonous snakes that will kill you, and there are also poisonous spiders that will kill you. Now, let's be honest. Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris because she's a low-hanging fruit. That means she's a no-brainer. If you just want to get the votes, you're going to pick a woman, and you're going to pick a woman of color. But nobody is seriously voting for Joe Biden or Kamala Harris because of their policies. Everybody's going to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris because they are not Trump. But I've done videos about Joe and I've done videos about Kamala, but now I'm going to focus on Kamala again because I want us to stop falling for the deception. I want us to stop falling for the trickery. I want us to actually have our eyes and our minds opened up to the truth. I don't care who you vote for. I just want you to be informed when you do it. Now, many of us believe that Kamala Harris is black or African American, but Kamala Harris is not black and she is not African American. Kamala Harris's mother is from India and her father is from Jamaica. She is not black, nor is she African American. Black people or African Americans are descendants of slaves, and they are terms given specifically to us over here in America. And this is the same with Barack Obama. Barack Obama's mother is white and his father is from Kenya. Barack Obama is not black, nor is he African American.
We're finally here, and we'll talk about how we got here, because we didn't get here based on a galvanization of any politics or even grassroots following. We just kind of were force-fed this, and I think in a lot of ways it shows the problems not only with the DNC but the whole liberal wing of the DNC. Last week, me and Yvette talked about BIPOC. If no one is more of an expression of BIPOC, it is Kamala Harris. I think a lot of people, they confuse who she is and what she is anchored in. We'll talk about that. They give her a statement around American blackness that her life doesn't really show. Going to Howard doesn't make you black.
Again, black and African American are for descendants of slaves who were born in this continental United States, this North America.
Everyone keeps bringing that up. There are white people at Howard. There are foreign-born students. Here you have Kamala Harris anchored in a Brahmin Indian. Again, Brahmin Indian being the most elite caste that oppresses the other caste below them, similar to white Americans. Here, Brahmin Indian woman anchored in her mother, who's a high-end professional in the 70s when black folks are still locked to the bottom, traveling back and forth to India to see her elite family, went to high school in Canada, and then somehow there's a confusion amongst American black folk, particularly American black women, because of what she looks like and what her name is, I think, as well. Her name is not Kamala, it is Kamala. There are two different names. I think if her name was just like, VJ or something of the sort, it would even be easier. I think that we're seeing her through an Africanness even as a result of her name itself. Her name means lotus in Indian.
So Kamala Harris's mother is from India. So if she's from India, then she's Indian. Her dad is from Jamaica. If he's from Jamaica, he's Jamaican. Barack's mother is white. She's white, then she's white. His father's from Kenya, so his father is Kenyan. So an Indian person is an Indian person. A Kenyan person is a Kenyan person. A Jamaican person is a Jamaican person. They all have one thing in common. They all have a flag for the country they are from.
In and of itself, it's not a problem that she is Indian. It is a problem that she doesn't have a political background to support her, supporting black folks, or even being in this position. I want to talk about it today because you deal with the first reality for us as ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. I'll go through how we brought this up and pretty much, I believe, played a big role in gutting her presidential campaign. She was supposed to be Obama 2.0, and we're not having that anymore. Essentially, you have a woman who has a elite Jamaican father. She did not live with him, though. She lived with the mother. And the mother is Brahmin Indian. And the mother moved her out of the presence of the father early on. I'm talking about I think 8, 9. And then she went to high school in Canada. But somehow I think everybody has repainted her as Felicia Rashad from The Cosby Show, as this professional ADOS black woman that came from Oakland, when that ain't the story that when you lay it all out.
But you, black people, or African Americans, do not have a flag because you being black is not based on your skin color. They use the color to identify, describe, and define who you were. So you being black has nothing to do with your actual appearance, but it's more of a social or political status.
So much more to it. And part of what I think is happening is that's why her politics is so bad. And when I say so bad for black folk. It is a highly, to me, conservative, center-right kind of politics that she represents. And I don't think that black America has been honest about that, nor has dealt with what it means that they're willing to still not see politics beyond this BIPOC lensing of color. Her, in her article with Politico, I'll talk about it later, she's basically running on being the first woman of color that would be vice president. That's not a reason to be running. In addition, we have the same issue that we saw with Barack Obama, where she's a junior senator with no background to put her in this position. Now, that doesn't mean that Trump doesn't either, but it doesn't mean you vote for this person as well, meaning you haven't done anything in the Senate and just got there and now are elevated only by the premise of being attached to ADOS through the lineage of being American descendant of slavery and Jim Crow. In and of itself, I don't even know if, ask yourself, if she was a full Indian woman, would Biden be considering her? So basically, because she's half Jamaican and that attaches her to American DOS because of how we didn't have boundaries, she's now able to run for vice president without giving us any politics. Make it make sense.
But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I simply want to say that Kamala Harris nor Barack Obama are black. Rachel Dolezal identifies with being black, but she's technically not black, but she identifies with being black. And you all would agree that she is not black. Kamala Harris and Barack Obama are not black, even if they identify with being black. But if we're honest, none of Barack Obama's policies nor Kamala Harris's policies included a black agenda. As I've said before, there's no such thing as black leadership because black leadership has to be endorsed by the white power structure. So that means a person that is going to be a black leader cannot and will not have a black agenda.